Welcome to the Bringing Intimacy Back show, where intimacy is real. If you desire to intimately connect with yourself, your significant other, children, family, friends, community, and higher power, this show is for you. We explore intimate topics, inspiring life stories, spirituality, and insightful tips on strengthening relationships. The show is hosted by Dr. April and her co-host, Coach K. Let's get this episode of the Bringing Intimacy Back show started. We share with you today the secret power to intimacy to create a life you love or love the life you create. Now, here's your host, Dr. April, and co-host, Coach K.
Welcome to the Bringing Intimacy Back show, where intimacy is real. Hi, good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing?
I am doing great. How are you doing today, Dr. April?
I'm doing well, Coach K. Yes. So how has your week been?
My week so far has been good. This is week 3 in my new space, so I'm still getting my mind together with leaving out of the house and, getting just wrapping my mind around all of the new stuff that's coming along. How about your week so far?
Oh, it's been good. Yes. In the sense of newness of trying different things. And so I'm so excited about this topic today of self-love for singles.
Yeah, that I think we sometimes forget about our singles, but it's much needed, especially when they're out looking for something. Got to remember to look right there.
Yes, definitely. And I work with a lot of singles and have been there myself. And so, especially I know this woman that we're bringing on, that it's an expert. When you're single after a serious relationship or divorce, it's an adjustment.
Oh, yes, it really is. It's almost like a whole new relearning, almost like relearning life again.
Yes, yeah. I was just doing some statistics, and really the average length of a marriage nowadays is like 8 years, and 4 out of 10 people are single. So there is a big need out there for people, because sometimes when you're single, you feel like, oh, no one loves me. I'm not worthy. And so I'm so happy that we have someone coming on to talk about self-love.
Absolutely. Much needed topic, no matter, even if you're in a relationship, just much needed topic on the self-love part.
Yes. And as part of self-love, I want to just highlight our charity of the month, Premier Mobile Health. They help with physical health, and physical health is very important for self-love, or loving your body and taking care of your physical health. And so they provide donations and grants and help for people in Lee County, and they're like a mobile health. So they're out in the streets, and they've done it for over 10,000 visits and had over 6,000 patients. So if you're thinking about donating, a great place, premiermobilehealth.org. And if you're listening out there, don't forget that Bringing Intimacy Back is a nonprofit, and feel free to share with your audience. And yes, we'll go forward.
Awesome. I love the mobile health thing. Much needed.
Yes, definitely. Yes. And so in dealing with that mobile health and physical health with self-love, many people are like, what is that?
I think we have gotten away from some of the simpleness of life, and with so many people having their own interpretations of what it could be, that you almost forget that it's literally just turning that mirror around and loving yourself.
Right, exactly. Yes. And so we are going to have a guest come on. And when we take a break, when she comes back, we're going to introduce Kelli Calabrese, and she is going to talk about self-love for singles. We'll be back in a moment.
Are you a business professional? Dr. April Brown's latest book is for you. Whether you are newly hired or managing a team of employees, her 30 intimacy-driven business principles will help you progress towards career success. Learn how to show up as your best self at work, what it means to cultivate a meaningful career, and how to avoid burnout, all while living up to your highest professional potential. Improving Intimacy, the book for business professionals, is available on Amazon in Kindle, Audible, and paperback. Search Dr. April Brown on Amazon to view all her books on improving intimacy for yourself, spouse, spirit, and more.
Hi, welcome back to the Bringing Intimacy show, where intimacy is real. Hi, Kelli. How are you doing?
Hi, I am doing wonderful. Thanks so much for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you on the show. I want to introduce you to our audience. So you empower women to overcome fear, stress, and rejection of divorce, because divorce is difficult. And many of us feel like, oh my gosh, do I have to go through all this? And you help them create a fabulous bonus life. I'm read about you, and I know that part of this has also been your own journey. So
Yes.
you're not just talking about it from professional reading book stuff, but you're also talking it from a personal life. And you've done this, as you told me, for over 34 years. You've been a fitness, nutrition, wellness, and lifestyle expert, appearing on all major networks, and you're speaking on international stage, and you're a 3-time bestseller, because you've written 3 great books we'll get a chance to talk about. So you're a certified divorce coach and an entrepreneur with her entire career. Thank you so much for being on the show.
I'm so happy to be here, Dr. April and Coach K. Just thanks for having me.
Yes. So, you talk, and on this show, we talk a lot about intimacy. What is your definition of intimacy?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say into me see. So really you're seeing into yourself, because ultimately ourselves is what we always have for our lifetime, and everything else is pretty temporary. Even if we think about marriage, unfortunately, we know the divorce rate is really high. And I was actually with 2 friends last night who lost their spouse to illness. So, being a parent could be temporary just naturally, because kids go off at 18 and start their own lives. They're adults. So the one thing that we're guaranteed is ourselves. So if you can go through your life and see into yourself and get to know your own soul, then I think you can radiate incredible, just vulnerability and light out into the world.
Right. That is beautiful. I think people don't realize that they're going to be with themselves for the rest of their lives.
Right.
That's something you cannot divorce,
Right. Wherever you go, there you are. Or you could change your house, your spouse, your clothes, your hair, your whatever, but wherever you go, you're taking you with you.
Right. Definitely. And so the topic today is self-love, and you just explained intimacy. How do you define self-love?
Yeah, I mean, self-love, what I'll tell you it isn't is it doesn't mean it's vanity, it doesn't mean it's selfishness, but it's really loving who you are. Every one of us is made unique, individual, one of a kind. There is only one of you. And I believe you have a great plan and purpose on your life, that you're born to do amazing, abundant, beautiful, creative things. And so loving who you are, knowing you're not a mistake. So your hair color, your ethnicity, the time you were born, I mean, all those things, if you could embrace that and love that. I mean, if you think about someone who really seems confident in their skin, you're just attracted to them because they love themselves. And it would be great if everyone could have that same type of courage and confidence in who they were.
Right. And, I was just thinking, which is a great thing. It's like you said, it's just loving that whole you. Where does that actually start?
Yeah. So the greatest need that everyone has, everything that has life, is unconditional love. So we want to be loved for exactly who we are. We don't want anyone to come in and try and change us and, tell us we're broken or not good enough or falling short or we somehow missed it. When we feel the most loved, it's when we love ourselves for who we are, and when we're with someone who loves us for who we are. I mean, I remember when my kids were little, they're now 20 and 21, that there were just certain parents that everyone loved to be at their house. Like, and they're like, what was it about those parents that all the kids always wanted to go there? And it's just that they loved unconditionally. They weren't judging, which so much of us do. They weren't comparing. They were just loving. And that's the greatest need that we all have.
No, definitely. And Kelli, just as you mentioned your kids, I was listening to Viola Davis this morning. She was on CBS News with her new book, and she talked about all the bullies when she was a child. And many people, including myself, we've had bullies, you know, whether there were bullies at the school or, sad to say, bullies at home. You know, yeah, how that impacts you growing up, picking some time of spouse, and then, you know, getting divorced and then being out single.
Yeah, there's so many things that can come against our ego, things that come into our sphere of influence that are abusive, untrue, negative. I mean, it's a tough world out there, and
Right.
we need to build that resilience. So we have to get to a place where we're going to get knocked down 10 times. Are we willing to get up 11? And that's what we need to have the courage and the boldness to really do, is to get back up again, time and time and time again. The people who thrive, who do the best, who have the most joy and happiness are able to be resilient and get back up again.
Yeah.
Well, and I love what you were saying earlier. Essentially, you know, when it comes to that loving yourself and then, you know, bringing somebody else in, but you almost begin to mimic and you put out exactly what you want. You are the role model for how to be loved once you have that full love for yourself, because we attract what we exude.
Totally. We are who we surround ourselves by is absolutely going to influence how we become, as well as us influencing others. That's why it's so important to always be looking at who in my life is bringing me up, giving me wisdom, who is draining me, you know, putting me into this place of negativity or a victim mindset. And I need to cut those people out and upgrade my group, because then it levels myself up in so many different areas. So yes, who you surround yourself with is a mirror of who you become.
Definitely. And I think it starts up here. It starts here in the mind.
Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People
It's
treat you the way you treat yourself.
We
Yeah.
train people how to treat us, and it does start with a belief. So we believe something about ourselves, like I'm not good enough because a bully told me that, or I'm not tall enough or thin enough or rich enough or whatever the mean person said. And we take that thought and it becomes a belief. Now we think that that is true because we heard it once or enough times for us to start creating evidence that that thing is true. And then that belief eventually becomes something we think about. And then we start to speak that. We start to say, I'm not smart. I'm not pretty. I'm not thin. And then as we speak it, we give life to it. And now it becomes what we do. We start acting on it, and we act on it repetitively. Now it becomes a habit, and that habit becomes our character, and that character becomes our identity. And the identity is ourself. That is who we are. So it started with some belief. And if we can go back and renew our mind and change that belief and line it up with what is really true about us, that we are powerful and we are unlimited and we are capable and we are creative, or whatever the thing is that needs to be, you know, held up to light and truth, then we can change everything right out to our identity, including your identity as a couple or a single.
Right. And I noticed on your website, because you talk a lot about healing, and you have 8 strategies to heal, your 8 strategy process, I guess. Yes. Can you share with the audience some of those strategies?
Absolutely. So, a little bit about my story. I have been for 35 years fitness, nutrition, wellness coach, all of that. After 24 years of marriage, my husband came home and said, my commitment to our marriage is 0. And he left. And I was blindsided, and it floored me. And it wasn't that I didn't have difficult things happen in my life prior to that, but that was just the thing that really took me to my knees, emptied me out, really made me question everything in my life. And so I went on this healing journey to really figure this out. And I took about 3 years of really intentionally pressing in to learn and heal. And I did all the things I could do. So I went to divorce recovery. I went to the healing center, counseling, retreats, conferences, books. I mean, name it. I was in Bible studies. I just wanted to be well. I needed to stop the pain. So
Right.
as a result of that 3-year journey, I did come out on the other side healthy, readjusted, and wanting to help other women. And I created these 8 steps based on what I wish I knew 3 years earlier, the program I wish that I had that I couldn't find anywhere. And so the 8 things that I identified that really moved the needle, and they didn't happen for me in this order, but it would be excellent if it sort of happened this way, is
Right.
first identity. And so identity is mine was in being a wife. I valued that so heavily. That was such an incredible core value of mine that when it went away, I almost didn't know who I was. And so really figuring out who am I? And that doesn't happen in a moment. That takes some real pressing in, some meditation, some,
Right.
you know, some
Many
assessment.
Yeah,
Yes.
we depend on other people to tell us who we are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get that from the world. So it's
Yes.
not, we've adapted to who the world says we are rather than who we truly are. So there's a whole big teaching on identity. The second thing, which was actually the last thing for me, but I wish I had done sooner, was forgiveness. And the obvious thing would be like, forgive your ex, which if you heard my story, it was awful. It was horrible. You would cry for me. But I also don't have to look far to see someone who had a more horrific story than I did, but was forgiving myself. That was really the most valuable, that palpably peeled back so much bitterness and heaviness off of me, that truly gave me a new sense of life when I was able to say, you're not a failure, you're not rejected, you're forgiven. And so that was the second thing. The third thing was renewing my
The third one, I'm going to stop
uh,
you in the second one.
yeah,
A lot of people, they sometimes say, what do I have to forgive myself for? Because he did or she did
right.
this.
Yeah. No,
And
that's a great question. And there could be horrible things, and I am not minimizing, abuse and neglect and, narcissism. I mean, there are horrible things that happen. I'm not saying we're agreeing or justifying or dismissing or minimizing any of those horrible things. And I'm not saying that the person asked to be abused or anything like that. But I simply needed to own my part in, okay, well, we were in 2 different ditches in my relationship. So, for example, my husband was someone who was really foolish and irresponsible. So I became controlling and enabling, because the
right,
more irresponsible and foolish he became, the more I was like, oh no, we're going to get these kids in the best schools with the best coaches and the best colleges. And he's like, yeah, they don't need to, go to them. I'm like, oh no. So in my relationship, that was one thing where I was like, ooh, I was really a perfectionist when it came down to it. I really became pretty controlling, really out of fear. So you need to kind of take time and evaluate those things. But the forgiveness part was really about, because my marriage didn't work, I'm not a failure. So it was about forgiving myself for, I was burning myself, like holding my own feet to the fire, trying to punish myself because my marriage didn't work. And I needed to go, okay, wait a minute. That was a chapter. That was not forever. It didn't go the way you thought. No one goes to the altar thinking their marriage is going to blow up, but you still have life. You still are valuable. You still have a lot of living to do. And so I needed to forgive myself for really staying depressed, staying bitter, staying angry, whatever it is, wanting revenge, whatever it is, you need to let those things go.
Right. For me, it was also forgiving myself for, how can I put it? Losing myself.
Yes. Yes. Women, moms, especially, we have that spirit of unworthiness where we put ourselves last. So it's all about the husband and the kids and keeping the house going and the dog. And we do lose ourselves. And then we get resentful.
Right. Exactly.
I love that you brought up the whole part about doing that self-reflection, because it's not done enough, especially at the dissolution of a relationship. It usually turns into, well, they did what did, they need to go do this, and they. And when they say, you're pointing that one finger away and the rest of them are pointing back, instead of just saying, you know what, I can't control or fix anyone else. Right. Let me look in the mirror, step back, and figure out what role did I play in this whole scenario. Not to say that you're at fault, but what role did I play?
Right. That was a huge revelation for me when I figured out I am not anyone's savior. No one's savior, just me. Like, even once your kids are 18, probably even really 14, if we're being real, you're not controlling or saving anyone else except yourself. It's all you're responsible for. And you can't go into any relationship thinking you're going to change someone or fix someone. And my background was a coach. So I just thought I can fix this. But if you're going in thinking, I'll get them to quit smoking and lose weight and do a budget, and that's not happening. You cannot go into a relationship that way. You can be your best you and hope that maybe they want to become better because they see your good habits, but you can't go in trying to change anyone or save anyone.
Right, definitely. So what's number 3?
So number 3 is renewing your mind. And that's where you have to get out of the past. You have to release all the memories, all the things that went wrong or right or whatever it is that you've got that foot in the past. It is keeping you from stepping into the future. So the more you're reliving and replaying, the more damage you're doing, the more stuck you're staying. So
not stalking them on Facebook and all that?
Yeah, stop stalking them on Facebook. Just block, disconnect, whatever you need to do. But you have to renew your mind to get rid of the past. And again, good memories, keep those, but stop reliving the negative. Don't spend too much time in the future, because then you're putting yourself in fear, because then it's like, what am I going to do? And what about money? And where am I going to live? And what are the kids going to go to? And you'll give yourself right into a panic attack. You'll create all this anxiety. But being present, be in this moment. And I don't know about other people, but I was not good at this. I was a future person. I was always running, striving on to the next thing, and never really enjoying the moment. And in the moment, breathe. Just start there. Calm yourself down by breathing and enjoy what's going on in this moment, because it's never going to happen again. Today's never going to happen again. This is all we get. This is all we're promised. No one is promised tomorrow. So if you have today to design the way you want it, what would you do with it? And then start to get excited about the future, because what you do today will build on that. But just get to the now. And that's really powerful.
Wonderful. Yes. I love that, being in the present moment.
Yes.
Yeah. And so number 4?
Number 4 is purpose. Sometimes when you're in a long-term relationship, you think your purpose is all about that marriage, that family, that couple, that commitment. And now you might need to go, okay, well, that no longer is, but it doesn't mean I don't have purpose. I might need to dig in again and reevaluate, what is my purpose now? And, maybe it didn't change, but you just lost it, or you got PTSD from the breakup, but just to go back to, I need to wake up every day with something that gives me hope. And so just looking at, again, what is my purpose, passion, and how can I find that sweet spot and tie it together with profit? That's always nice too. But so just getting them to find a new purpose, not in being a couple, but in this season of their life.
Right. And I do think over time, your purpose changes.
Yes.
Yeah. And I love how you started in the beginning about your identity, because you have to know yourself. And then the purpose is, where life is journeying you to.
Correct.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. And so the next one, which is, I believe, number 5.
Self-love and gratitude. So I put those two together because a lot of times when you're coming out of a relationship, there is a lot of self-loathing. There is a lot of blame possibly on why it didn't work. If you were the one to leave and you broke up your family, there's a lot of guilt. Yes. There's a lot of shame. I mean, it had to be pretty bad, especially for a woman to leave her family. And if you were left, there's a lot of rejection. You feel so rejected. So you need to deal with those things and start loving yourself, start pouring in, and start to celebrate the life that you have and celebrating you. And then gratitude truly is a superpower. And, we hear all the time, gratitude, gratitude, but I got serious about it and I got a big notebook. It's not a little one, it's a big one. And I committed that I am not going to go to bed until I fill a page every single night. So it's on my nightstand. I get in bed. And when I first started, it was really mechanical. Like, well, I took my vitamins, I walked the dog. It was just kind of like, ugh, I have a pencil, like, that kind of stuff. But I started eventually going through the day like, wow, oh my goodness. Like I got to talk to Dr. April and Coach K today. Like not everyone got to do that. Like what an honor that is. And I got to have lunch with someone and someone let me borrow her necklace for a dance I'm going to, or, I started looking as I was going throughout my day because I knew I was going to have to fill that page at night. And what happened was I started to receive things. I didn't even realize it. It was like I turned on this, waterfall of stuff that started coming to me. The more grateful I became, people were like, hey, can I buy you lunch? Or hey, you want tickets to the concert? Or, do you want to come join me for this, whatever, let's do a girls trip, or stuff just started to come to me. And I was so grateful for it. And I actually started putting dollar amounts on it. Like, wow, those concert tickets, that was front row. That was like $700 tickets. My goodness.
Wow.
And, someone bought me soup. That was like $12. And, I just started, someone sent me a book, just getting grateful, and it changed my physiology. So that just opened up. I'm always giving, which a lot of women do. And I just started receiving because that's how the universe works. You can't just give and then you're empty all the time, but you have to refill yourself. So it just gave me joy. So that was number 5.
Right. Kelly, I love how you put, because most people say you write down 3 things that you're thankful for. But you're saying you get one of those things and fill the damn page up and see how life just blesses you abundantly.
Yes.
So it sounds like you opened yourself and gave yourself the permission to receive, whereas at first you were closed off and felt like you just had to give and do for everyone else. And once you start to realize, I am worthy of receiving, it just flowed in.
It has been incredible. I mean, crazy stuff has come to me. I had a trip to Jamaica, all expenses paid. I've been to the Hamptons. I've been to California. I've been asked to be on TV show. I mean, just incredible things have come. Literally tomorrow, I'm going to New York for a gala. Paid for my plane ticket. This is an incredible event. My hotel, transportation in and out of the city, just because they want me to be in the room at the table. I was like, wow.
Wow. So how big is that pad again?
Well, it's a good 8.5 by 11 with, kind of small lines. So yeah, I fill it up. And when it's finished, I get a new one and I don't miss a night. If I'm traveling, it comes with me. And then I have I keep the front couple pages, I write goals. The back couple pages, I write miracles. And then I take a section where I started putting dollar signs on the things that started coming to me. And I give a lot too, and I'm not tracking what I give, but I'm just, naturally, I love to be generous any occasion that I am.
Wow,
To do that.
Much. Yes. Okay. So the next one, which
is divine health. So when we're going through, this blow up of a relationship, there's a lot of chaos, a lot of things that are just out of our control. But the one thing we can do something about is our health. And it's a really great opportunity for you to fuel and nourish and love your body. So this is, physical health, mental health, spiritual health, because if you can get these things right, they ripple out into everything, your relationships and professionally and so on. So we talk about really nourishing your body, mind, and soul. So I call it divine health. And it also, is a superpower because you have a choice. You can go on the divorce diet where you either don't eat at all because you don't feel worthy, or you are trying to fuel your emotions and you're overfeeding with just, processed food, carbs, garbage, and that makes you feel unlovable and unattractive. And so just really getting a handle on everything that comes into my brain, my body, my soul is going to be nourishing.
Wow. I love how you put that as divine. And then the aspect that they're all connected, the mind, body, spirit.
You can't disconnect them, honestly. You can't. So they all work together. If you can get one propped up and then the three working together is most excellent.
Okay. Then I believe we're on the last one.
Number 7 is what I call abundant wealth. And especially, I mean, I mostly work with women. I will work with some men. During divorce, there's so much fear around money for women because a lot of times the man was the breadwinner, the man was in control of the family finances. They didn't even know what kind of debt there was. They're not sure how all this divorce is going to shake out. Will they be receiving alimony, child support? Single moms are the number one group of poverty in the US. And I'm assuming it's probably a nationwide, a worldwide statistic. So women have to realize you still need money to survive every day. You're going to have to figure this out. So let's talk about a budget. Let's talk about, what you can do to earn. Let's talk about what we can do to multiply your money. Where can you save? How do you need to learn to live for right now so that you can, contribute and provide if for some reason you don't get child support or alimony or the house or however it might go, because women usually wind up moving. They can't afford to stay in the primary home by themselves. And so it's important that we really can't go through a day without somehow needing money. We can't go very long without it. So many people have just perverted thoughts about money and they're in debt. And so we get that fixed.
Okay. Yeah. And I like how that's coming in because that also ties to the previous one of the mind, body, spirit. Also writing down things, being thankful, all that gets you to the point where you said earlier about being resilient.
Yes. And that's actually number 8, which is what I call like joy, resurrection, celebration, like create this bonus life. Don't just get back to a place where you're like, okay, I'm single, I'm adjusted. But no, there is this whole incredible life that you didn't even know was possible before, that now you have this blank slate. You have this fresh start, that you are, wiser. You know what your values are now compared to whenever you were starting out being a couple, which may have been a long time ago. I mean, for me, it was 25 years, really even longer, counting dating. So looking at who am I now and what do I have to be excited about? Like, wow, I get to make every decision. As a single person, I decide the temperature of the house, what time I go to bed, what food's in the refrigerator, what's on the TV or not. And so this is the best time of my life. I can be in the best shape of my life. I can do personal development. I can do traveling at moment's notice, girls' trips. I can get a handle on money. I can save. I can invest. It's an opportunity to have more peace, especially if your relationship had a slow fade that was just, angry and negative and depressing and fear-filled, that now it's like, wow, that's gone. Like the house is so peaceful. I have a chance to really balance things out in my life the way that I want them. So it's about the whole bonus single life for now. And hopefully it's in preparation for becoming your best self so that you attract that, high level soulmate that you're looking to attract if you want to do that. I do. I know not everyone does, but I would love to have another relationship that was just at a completely higher level with the intimacy that you ladies talk about.
Yes. So I guess I was just asking this a listener, how do you know when you're ready for a relationship after?
That is a great question. So I remember when I knew my divorce was imminent and I was sitting with a counselor at the healing place, and he said to me, Kelli, please promise me you will not get married for at least 2 years. And I said, oh, you don't have to worry about that. I am not in any rush to take care of another man. That's not even a thought of mine. And
Right.
so I'm years late, 4+ years later and not dating. I am open to it. I have not found the right person yet. When I got divorced, a bunch of my friends were getting divorced who were my age. And when I say a bunch, I'm talking about like 12 of my closest
Really?
friends.
Wow.
Were, like in the same neighborhood. People are like, don't drink the water over there. But a lot of them are already remarried, or they're in long-term relationships, engaged, or living with their significant other. And the healing can come in that next relationship. I fully believe that. But I would still say do the deep work, do the self work, become your best self, be open, do not compromise on your core values. So
Mhm.
when you're become the person you want to be to attract the person that you want to become. Don't settle. I just had a coaching call with a woman who's in an open relationship with someone. That's not something I would personally do. I'm not judging anyone else, but that's a no for me. Like, I am too valuable for that. So decide what your core values are and don't compromise on the most important ones.
Right. And I would say exactly what you're saying, because sometimes when people are coming from a divorce and they're hurt, and hurting people sometimes hurt people, but also their heart hasn't healed.
Right.
And they go into these relationships, and that I see in as a relationship therapist, with these holes,
Yeah.
And so with these holes, you're going to attract certain type of people.
And that rebound breakup, from what
Yes,
I'm told, is even worse than the
exactly.
divorce of, 15, 20, 25, 30 years, because these women who are used to being in a committed, monogamous relationship, they get in, they start playing house right away. They're just, they get right into it like it's this, long-term intimate relationship, and the other person may be like, "Ooh, this is a little too much too fast for me," but in your brain, like, you've already gone there because that's how it works. That's what you do. And so when that person leaves or you realize this isn't a match, that hits them really hard. I've seen women especially fall really hard after that first post-divorce relationship that didn't work.
Right.
Well, you said something extremely important, and I want to make sure that everyone heard it. You said, when it happened to you, you were sitting down and speaking with whom, and they told you X, Y, and Z. The part that I want people to remember is that you sought support.
Right.
That is huge. It's almost like going through those 5 stages of grief. You would get support if someone, exited your life. If they passed away, it's the same. So I just want to make sure that people hear this. You sought support
Yes.
before even thinking about going to the next phase of, into dating or whatever.
Yes, no, the counseling was big, and not just professional counseling, but I have really wise friends who, in those dark, door kicking, depressive moments, I could call a friend and they would talk me off the ledge, speak life into me, let me know, it's not always going to be this hard. You're going to be okay. Whatever wise words they had in that moment, I would just take time and be like, who do I need to talk to? And a friend would pop into my brain, and even just getting on the phone with them would give me peace, because I knew, like, this person has a word for me right now. They're going to know what I need to hear in this moment when I don't know, or I'm thinking crazy. And so the community is huge, whether you go to a meetup group or you find a group of single moms or church group or wherever your people are, go find them, get professional help, do life with girlfriends. I have a brunch group. We meet once a month. I've got girls I vacation with. I have girls, we just check in on each other every day. And even my mom in her mid 70s, my dad passed away. She's got a little group of girlfriends that they text each other every morning just to know, like, are you okay? You okay? You okay? And, they meet Wednesday nights for dinner. And so we're not meant to do this alone. You need that community.
Right, definitely. So just because you're in the process of getting divorced and you're out there and you feel like alone and single does not mean that you're alone.
Correct. It's a great time to go deep with girlfriends, especially, if I'm going to be 53. So at this stage of empty nester, when you're past the season of, the kids and the activities and all the running around and volunteering and all that stuff, now you have the time to really go deep with girlfriends. And I am just enjoying this. My friends are fun. They are funny. I mean, we're all different. We bring something unique to the table. And I'm not really like a high maintenance beauty girl, but I'm learning about like curling irons and contouring. And I'm like, where have my friends been? Like, this is so fun and cool. And um, just, different friends who have different expertise that you learn from and support each other. It's fun.
Awesome. Kelli, you've been an amazing person on the show. Tell me a little bit about your books.
Yes, my first book is called Mom and Dadpreneurs, and it tells stories about people who, and this is way before COVID, this book is like 5 years old now, they put their family and their passions before working outside the home. So it's basically about how can you hit that sweet spot of purpose, passion, and profit without sacrificing your family. The second book is called Passionistas, and that's about what would you tell your younger self? So it's wisdom from people who have lived some life about what was really important, knowing what you now know. What would you tell to that millennial or, someone behind you about the
Right.
really important lessons? And then the latest book is called Success Habits of Superachievers. And that looks at 80 ordinary people who have had extraordinary, difficult things happen in their life that overcame. And not only did they overcome, but they used it to do something really meaningful and significant with that hardship. So it's that resilience that you talked about. So there are definitely themes that are weaved in there that successful people do to overcome hard things.
Wow. And where can people find your books?
Well, if they want to go to my website, kellicalabrese.com, it's Kelly with an I, they can get a free copy there. So they can do that. If they want a hand signed copy from me, they can email me, kelly@kellicalabrese.com, or they can go to Amazon and get it there also.
Okay, awesome. And besides your books, you do a lot of coaching. Do you want to just explain that also?
I do. Yeah. So if you're a woman who is separated, divorced, even post-divorce, and wants to be well, wants to heal, wants to live an intentionally fabulous life, get through the grief, it's intentionallyfabulous.com. That's the website. But I have a free Facebook group where I pour into every single day. We talk about the hard things, we laugh, we support each other. And that's on Facebook. It's intentionallyfabulous.com. It's a group. Just ask to join and I'll approve you and look forward to getting to know anyone there.
Wow. Thank you so much for being such a supporting, for helping people connect with themselves so they can connect better with people around them.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for bringing the show to the world. The world needs to talk about these topics more.
Yes, definitely. You're always
Nice to meet
welcome
you.
back. Yes. And you're always welcome back. And thank you again for being a guest on the show.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be right back.
Renew your connection and your love in beautiful Costa Rica. We'll make sure it happens. Vacation Counseling provides intimate couples retreats, including one-on-one counseling, yoga, and nature outings to help you and your partner rekindle the passion. Our experienced team of counselors works with one couple at a time to improve intimacy, communication, and more. Enroll now at vacationcounseling.com.
All right. Well, welcome back. This was such a great show, Coach K.
It was. I genuinely enjoyed every bit of it. I hate that you guys couldn't see me, but I was watching the whole thing. I love the self-love, the processes of just looking at yourself sometimes and pouring into yourself. I love it all.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I love how she helps people, like you said, that self-love of healing and the process that she takes them through to achieve their better selves. Because I think many times when we're going through a relationship breakup or divorce, we just try to go to the next thing and we don't take time to heal. So I was glad, and she's had experience in this. So that was amazing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, we have some amazing shows that are coming up in the next couple weeks. So I'm really excited that next week on the 28th, we're going to kink it up a notch with Jacqueline Greeley on the 28th. And then on May 5th, we have Irene Fair. She's going to talk about why sex dies in long-term relationships. On May 12th, we have Mandy Nuttall, sex education for young people, much needed topic. And then on May 19th, we have Rayford Palmer, who is preserving your marriage and intimacy, a divorce lawyer's perspective. Really great topics that are coming up. And just for everyone that's listening, if you're enjoying this show and you really want to make sure that other people can enjoy the show, don't forget to give us a review. Let us know how we're doing because we want to hear from you. And just remember, we're on all major social media platforms.
Wow, yes, definitely. Thanks, and think about rating us like you said, and we will see you guys back next week on Bringing Intimacy Back at 3:30 next Thursday. We'll see you next week. Have a good week, Coach K.
All right, you too. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of Bringing Intimacy Back. We hope you enjoyed it. You can also find us at bringingintimacyback.com and Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, or Twitter. Dr. April Brown's 5-book series, Improving Intimacy, is now on Amazon, available in Kindle, Audible, or paperback. We'll see you next Thursday live at 3:30 p.m.